Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. This is Empowerment Through Science, a journey of exploration with Tobigile Gambo. It is our first episode in this series, and this series really seeks to bridge the gap between science and everyday life, empowering us to embrace curiosity, cultivate resilience, and embark on our own journeys of exploration and discovery. So today we're diving into the fascinating topic of resilience and mental fortitude. So resilience is more than just bouncing back through tough times. It's about thriving in the face of adversity. So while you're going through that difficult time, how are you thriving? It's not just about barely surviving through it, but making it through, but it's about thriving during adversity. So join us as we explore the science behind resilience and its profound impact on personal empowerment. So understanding the science of resilience can provide valuable insights into how we can navigate life's challenges with strength and resilience. So we're going to start by defining exactly what resilience is. So I do usually have people tell me, oh my goodness, you're so resilient. How did you overcome this and how did you overcome that? And it was quite interesting for me to just research a bit into this and learn how science actually plays a role. So it's not just even about how strong you are or what a solid rock you are, for example. It also has to do with a lot of what's happening in your body. So that's why the neurobiology of resilience is quite intriguing and is very important for us to understand. Basically, our brain's response to stress and adversity plays a crucial role in our resilience levels. So the way we respond or the level of resilience we have is also based just on how our brain functions and how our brain responds to stress and adversity. So we're going to just go a bit into that neurobiology concept and try to understand exactly, what some of the hormones are that play a role and some of the chemicals that we have in our bodies that play a role in whether we are resilient or not in a particular situation. So the neurobiology of resilience refers to the complex interplay of neural processes and mechanisms within the brain. So you can see already that there are neural processes involved and there are a lot of mechanisms involved within the brain that determine whether you're resilient or not. And these contribute to an individual's ability to adapt and cope with adversity. This includes various physiological and molecular factors involved in stress response, emotional regulation, and cognitive function. And some of these key components associated with resilience include the functioning of neurotransmitter systems. So whether you're able to be resilient or not depends on your neurotransmitter systems such as serotonin, and I learned that serotonin strongly influences the mental behavior patterns. So that serotonin, influences whether you're resilient or not. I learned also about dopamine and the fact that dopamine is involved in movement, within your body. And these substances are fundamental to normal brain function. Also, a key component is the regulation of stress hormones such as cortisol, the plasticity of neural circuits involved in emotion regulation and decision making, and also the role of neurotrophic factors in promoting neuronal growth and resilience. And neurotrophic factors are the groups of proteins that play a crucial role in growth, development, maintenance, and survival of neurons in the nervous system. So you can see that a lot actually happens for someone to actually position themselves as resilient in a situation. Okay, they don't really position themselves, but for them to actually respond in a way that is resilient or not. So if there is some sort of imbalance, within the body in terms of chemistry, then it could influence whether a particular individual is resilient or not. So because I always thought that, it's about your strength and your character and how strong you are and all of those kinds of things, but it also has a lot to do with the science in your body. So understanding the neurobiology of resilience can provide insights into how individuals can develop strategies to cope with stress and adversity, as well as inform the development of interventions aimed at enhancing resilience and mental well-being. So once we're able to understand this phenomenon of neurobiology, then we're able to also just draw on some strategies to cope with stress and adversity, and we will go through that just as we continue with the session. So it's also important to know that genetics play a role. The environment that you're in obviously does play a role, and personal experiences, will contribute to your resilience level. So I've experienced, even with myself, that the more I encounter situations of difficulty, the more I encounter challenges, I've actually become more and more resilient. There are situations where I would literally tell my brain, there's no point in stressing about this, let's just move on and then just wait for the outcome, because I've managed to just become more and more resilient over the years. But I remember, coming out of school and actually starting to face difficult situations, I would literally fall apart just from some of the things that I was encountering, some of the challenges that I was encountering. So I sometimes do wonder whether the chemistry within our bodies improves over time, which, there's opportunity for more research and exploration there. But, why is it that when you're younger, you're just so prone to crumbling within challenging times, but then the older you get, you're stronger? I guess it also links back to the personal experiences which contribute to shaping our resilience. So now I'd like us to just talk a bit about some individuals that we can draw strength from, who have overcome significant adversity and found strength in challenging times. And I'm sure that each and every one of you have your own stories, that you can share and speak about, that have helped you to become more and more resilient. Maybe, even also share about whether you feel like you're resilient at all, or you feel like, maybe you need more experiences to actually help you to be more resilient. So we'll start by looking at Nelson Mandela. And I thought that this is quite a nice example because, with having an international audience, the audience can relate a lot to Nelson Mandela, and he was such an iconic figure just internationally. So one of the most iconic figures in South Africa, and he endured 27 years of imprisonment during the apartheid era. And despite this immense hardship, Tata Mandela emerged with a vision of reconciliation and forgiveness, leading South Africa through its transition to democracy as its first black president. So, we are going to look at some strategies or just areas that we can learn from these two examples that I'm going to mention. So for now, I just wanted to mention the example of Tata Mandela, and then we're going to speak more about some of the things that, some of the ways that he, was able to find strength in these challenging times. Another example is Caster Semenya, and, she's an athlete, and a lot of us are quite familiar with her, and we're quite familiar with her story. She faced intense scrutiny and discrimination due to her intersex condition. And, despite the controversy and challenges, Semenya has continued to excel in her athletic career, becoming a multiple-time Olympic and world champion in middle distance running. So, this is another great example of somebody who has faced quite challenging times in their career, and to think that she emerged victorious, and even though some of the challenges are still ongoing, it is somebody that we can look up to and actually realize a situation of just how a person has become resilient at the face of challenge. So some of the items now that I just want to touch on are some of the characteristics, if you want to call it, or some of the strategies that these two examples actually, that we can learn from. And one of it is courage and determination. So both of these individuals exhibited immense courage and determination in the face of adversity. They remained steadfast in their pursuit of their goals despite facing numerous obstacles and setbacks. So it's a great example of people that were sure and set in their goals, because I think if they were not set in their goals, like Nelson Mandela knew exactly what he needed to achieve, and Caster Semenya knew exactly what she needed to achieve. So these people had distinct goals and pursued these goals no matter what. So it really teaches us about courage and about determination, and about being steadfast in our beliefs and our goals and pursuing them, against all odds, basically. And then the second that we can look at is vision and purpose. So both of them also, like I said, I spoke specifically about goals, but here they had a clear vision and purpose that motivated them to persevere in the face of adversity. Nelson Mandela's vision of a free and democratic South Africa inspired him. Today we find ourselves in a democratic South Africa because of Nelson Mandela, because of the vision that he had, and this inspired him to endure decades of imprisonment, which is really something to really look up to. And while Caster Semenya also, her passion for athletics and the desire to compete at the highest level kept her focused despite all the challenges that she faced, right? So these people, you can see, had a vision and a purpose for not just their lives, but for the country. And you can see in Caster Semenya's case, it's also just for the rest of the athletes that come after her, who would have faced a similar situation. So importantly, a strategy that we can also have in our own individual lives is to have a vision in place and to almost know our purpose. And I know the one about purpose is quite a difficult one, because I think most people are still on a path of discovering their purpose and exactly why they were put on this earth. So but with the purpose that you understand, that is something enough to push you against or towards or help you flourish against any challenges or against any adversity. Another strategy that we can draw from is their adaptability. So both of them demonstrated adaptability in navigating changing circumstances and environments. So you can imagine that with Nelson Mandela, as the years went, it was mainly the same leadership, but I mean, times changed, and he was able to navigate circumstances and environments. And also, they were basically both able to adjust their strategies and approaches according to what was happening at that time, but remaining true to their core values and principles. So while you adapt, it's important to not lose yourself, and want to please people and change and all of that. You still stay true to your core values and your principles, and that will see you through some of the challenges and will help you actually become resilient. I mean, in this day and age, it's so important to be able to adapt. There's just so many challenges with just the how expensive just our living is, just to even just making a living and being able to juggle everything that requires you in your daily life. You need to be adaptable. So they also were able to seek support. So they sought support from others during difficult times. And I think even for my life specifically, this has been such a game changer. They say that for things that you're not able to do, make sure that you reach out to somebody who's able to do that, 10 times more than you can. So you can see in these examples that they were able to get international allies, they were able to get legal teams, they were able to get support from family and coaches and fans, etc. So it's really important. If we're speaking about resilience, they say that, it's your support system sometimes that determines just how much you come out of a situation or how much you thrive in a situation. So your support system is very important. And then just lastly, staying true to themselves, despite facing immense pressure, that could have had the potential to compromise their values or could have had them conform to societal expectations. They remain true to themselves. And in this day and age, I cannot tell you just how important it is to really remain true to yourself and just go at that challenge and face that challenge head on with your vision intact, with your purpose intact, with your goal intact. So those are some of the characteristics. I've interchanged characteristics with strategies, but yes, it's more the characteristics that they showed during their journey of resilience, during their journey of in adversity and encountering challenges. So those are some things that maybe you can note down and maybe also just instill in yourself when you encounter adversity. So building resilience isn't just about overcoming adversity. It's also about equipping ourselves with practical strategies to thrive, right? So I want us to now go through some practical strategies that will be able to help us when we encounter adversity. So what are some of the strategies that we can equip ourselves with so that we thrive during adversity and during times that are challenging? That's what we're going to look into now. We're going to quickly look at what some of the strategies that we can leverage. So firstly, it's to develop self-awareness. And I think a lot of us are familiar with what self-awareness is, but it's basically understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, and knowing your triggers, right? As humans, we all know that, sometimes there are those buttons that sometimes your family knows, or or your partner or spouse knows that once it's touched, everything just blows up. So knowing your triggers is very important to be able to withstand adversity or get through it. Self-awareness allows you to recognize when you're feeling stress or overwhelmed and enabling you to take proactive steps to manage your emotions. So it's important to know yourself in and out. Know when you've reached your capacity in terms of just stress levels, so that you can be able to take necessary steps to manage that stress. Cultivate positive relationships. Like I said earlier on, that your support system really is something that determines just how much you thrive within a situation. You could be going just through the most in your personal life, but because you've got your spouse, you've got your siblings, you've got friends, you've got colleagues, you're able to come out strong. So build a strong support network of friends, family, and colleagues who you can turn to in times of need, but I don't have to stress the importance of just being careful about who you trust and being careful about who you bring into your inner circle. A lot of us can attest to some to the way that we probably have been treated by people that we thought we could trust, but just being aware of who you bring into your circle. So cultivating positive relationships can provide emotional support, encouragement, and a perspective that you would not have necessarily seen. So people that love us sometimes do come with a different perspective, but because we are so stuck in the problem and so stuck in that solution that we think is going to work, it's sometimes difficult for us to look at other angles and look at other perspectives, but your support structure can help you do that. Practice mindfulness and stress reduction techniques. So I currently practice mindfulness in the form of meditation. I meditate mostly in the mornings for at least 30 minutes, and that is how I'm able to just center myself again and bring myself to a point where I'm aware of my surrounding, I'm aware of how I'm feeling, and I'm just mindful and not really absent-minded. And so it's important to incorporate mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing exercises. That also helps with just regulating your emotions. And then incorporating this into your daily routine can help reduce stress and promote relaxation, and also help you to become more resilient. Setting realistic goals as well. I mean, there was a point in my life when I had set just really unrealistic goals, and I was driving myself to the point of no return, if you want to put it, just where you feel like you're failing, where you feel like you're not meeting your goals. That can just bring about a lot of stress, a lot of emotional anxiety. So, break larger goals into smaller ones and manage manageable tasks and set realistic expectations for yourself. So that is also important to just as a strategy to ensure that you reducing some of those stress levels, and you're also putting in place systems to help you become more resilient. Another important one is to just maintain a healthy lifestyle. You can prioritize self-care by eating a balanced diet and just doing some physical exercise, because this can also boost your physical and mental resilience. So ensuring that you're jogging, if you're a person that jogs, you go to the gym. Some people do yoga, some people do mindful movement. I actually have tried out mindful movement, and it's something that I practice or do every now and again if I'm not really keen on going out to the gym. So these will improve your ability to cope with stress and adversity, and therefore increase your resilience levels. Building problem-solving skills as well. When we're so under pressure, I think this is such an important thing, to be able to be a problem solver. I mean, a lot of the time when we need to be resilient, it's also a point where we need to come up with solutions. So develop an effective problem-solving skill, to tackle challenges and setbacks. Sometimes you can do this by just breaking down problems into smaller steps, and also just being realistic about the fact that you cannot worry about every single thing that disturbs your peace. You need to, some problems you just let it go. Some problems you just let time fix it. So don't put yourself in a situation where you just need to solve for every single thing or allow every single thing to affect you. Foster optimism and positive thinking. You need to maybe, we, myself included, need to try and cultivate a positive outlook by focusing on the present moment and practicing gratitude. So I know a lot of YouTubers, for example, that look at self-development and look at goal setting. This is a big one where you're just a positive thinker and you practice gratitude. You make a list of all of the things that you are grateful for and all of that, and you allow yourself to just think positively. And then just one last one maybe that we can look at is basically practicing flexibility and adaptability. And we've spoken about this already. Being able to embrace change and uncertainty. Things are not always going to be the way that you want them to be. There are going to be times when you're going to be disturbed in your flow and in your comfort zone, and you're going to be able to just embrace that change, and that brings opportunities for growth and learning. So this is important to be able to navigate challenges and any setbacks, and therefore increases your resilience as well. So by incorporating these practical strategies into your life, you can enhance your resilience and ability to bounce back from adversity through strength or with strength and grace. Sorry about that. So that is basically what this session was about. It's about building your resilience and just ensuring that you're able to overcome adversity. So the title for this specific episode was Resilience, the Science of Overcoming Adversity. So it was important for us to look at that and look at how our minds as well work in terms of science and in terms of where we can place ourselves with being resilient. So as we wrap up today's episode, let's take a moment to reflect on the key takeaways. And while we do that, let's remember again that resilience is not just a trait, it's a skill that can be cultivated. So you don't need to feel too bad if every situation ruffles your feathers or every situation just makes you have that feeling of falling apart. I mean, that happens with all of us. Just rest assured that this is a skill that you can cultivate and nurture over time. So just a few takeaways as we wrap up. Resilience is more than just bouncing back. Like we said, it's about thriving in the face of adversity. And also understanding the science behind resilience can provide valuable insights. So I'd like to encourage you during your free time to just go and read up on some of the scientific terms that we used earlier and the scientific explanations around neurobiology and some of the hormones that play a role in how you face adversity. So the neurobiology of resilience involves complex neural processes. That's an important thing to remember, that it's not just about you and being strong, but it's also about what's happening within your body, your physiological factors, neurotransmitter systems, and so forth. And also just remember to look for inspiring stories, that highlight the importance of courage and determination and vision. We looked at Nelson Mandela and Caster Semenya and just their stories of how they were able to face adversity and come out strong. So that is just going out there and looking for those examples can definitely improve us and help us move forward. So practical strategies also, we went through some of the techniques, that you can use, practicing mindfulness, stress reduction techniques, setting realistic goals, seeking support when you need to. Don't be afraid of seeking support. So those are some of our takeaways, and I encourage you to embrace the science of resilience and apply its principles to your own life. And together we can navigate life's challenges with strength and resilience. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey of empowerment through science. And I want to leave you with this statement. And I want to leave you with just this last statement of the fact that remember that resilience is a skill that can be cultivated. I think that is so important. So join us next time for another episode of Empowerment Through Science, a journey of exploration with Tobegile Gambu, where we'll continue to uncover the wonders of science and its transformative power in our lives. Until then, stay curious and resilient. Bye.
Empowerment Podcast. Inspire, equip, and empower.